these leaderships, federal and provincial, like it's kind of a trend that happens. That there's no hard and fast rule. You only have one, and I mean, there's other names that have come out of St. John. Can you only have one St. John candidate? Well, there's no rule. I mean, it's probably better if there's only one from caucus or only one from St. John, but that's not hard and fast. And I would think that it's one of the factors people will consider. Right. But it's not that these are not deciding factors. These are just historical trends, I guess.
Right. I'm going to go to the phone right now. We've got famous Charles from Fredericton on the line. Charles, do you have a question for Brian?
Bonsoir, Adam. Bonsoir, Brian.
Bonsoir, Charles.
I'm proud to announce that I will run for the leadership right here on Rogers. Je parle le chiac, pas de problème. The Englishman can understand half Français and half Chiac, half English. So, I think I'll be the perfect candidate. What do you think, Adam?
Well, you're the first out of the gate.
That's for sure. And
I'll be the first one right on the floor, too. No. A politician is a psychiatrist, a walking psychiatrist. They listen to other people's problems. They listen and listen and listen. I like to talk too much, so there's no way I would be a politician. Okay, well, I didn't call in for that. I just had to add that little comment. But when you're in the opposition, you could promise the world, the government should do this, the government should do that, do this, do that. Why don't Victor Boudreau and the Liberals, which the Conservative is to blame, Bernard Lord put the language commissioner there. Why don't we get rid of that job? It would save $500,000 a year. Why don't we?
Brian, should there be a language commissioner?
Yeah, I think the language commissioner has a role to play. This current language commissioner has been a little contentious about some of the things she's done, but I think it is important to have someone in there that is making sure that we respect bilingualism. It's a constitutional requirement here in New Brunswick, and it makes sense to have some degree of oversight on that. I think it's a sensible thing to have. I mean, as you know, there are 8 legislative officers, all of whom provide oversight authority. The challenge is you need someone looking over the shoulder of the elected people, because you don't want to give them all of the power. And what we have happening in our system is an increasing concentration of power in the Premier's office. And we see that federally too. The Prime Minister's office is, they sort of vacuum up a lot of power. And so these central organizations need some sort of oversight body to look over them. And that's why the Auditor General is important. That's why the Ombudsman is important. And the Language Commissioner has a role to play too. Now, this government is examining options to amalgamate or achieve some savings in those legislative officers, and I certainly support that effort. But I think that it is important to have that oversight in whatever form it comes. I mean, maybe it could be amalgamated with another position, but I think that having a language commissioner is some sort of oversight there is important.
You did cite that there's been some difficulties with her in specific. Should there be a confidence vote on Catherine Donovan in the provincial legislature?
At this point, I mean, she's been in front of the legislative committee. I wasn't there, but she was called in front of a committee and she was examined, and I think that has satisfied the need for oversight on her position, because it's a two-way street. She provides oversight, and there needs to be some oversight over her. Mm-hmm. I think that to bring her in front of the legislature is maybe a little premature, but I think that she now understands that there is some oversight on her position, which I think is helpful, and that maybe she'll bear that in mind in the future.
Charles, do you have a follow-up?
Well, yeah, but the problem I'm having is if you hear from the Ombudsman, okay, you listen to him once a year, he gives his report, but this one here, Charles, he likes to give other comments, and that's a good thing. But the French thing, the French issue, moi je suis français, je viens de Murmancourt, je me battrai pour mes droits acadiens jusqu'au bout. But this thing here, there's so many issues. The paramedics should be bilingual. The water tower in Miramichi should be French and English. I mean, foolishness. It causes conflict between the French and the English. And I said it before on the show. You have the school district, le francophone, la langue anglophone, francophone, anglophone. It should be like the District 11, District 12. But I tackled Victor Boudreau a couple days ago when They were at the convention center on their tour. And if you want to see my YouTube, go to my blog, just write my name and you'll see my blog right there. But I asked him about this language commissioner, and he says, is in the Constitution. I said, in the Constitution? What are you talking about? Are you trying to tell me there's a language commissioner in every province? And just to finish it, what really got me upset with this one is when the last provincial election, David Cohn wanted to join the debate, and Radio Canada told him that his French wasn't good enough. And I put a complaint to the language commissioner, and she said, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. Sorry, Adam, I'm getting wound up. That's
all
okay.
right.
You guys have a good night.
Charles, I appreciate
Thanks,
the
Charles.
call. Thank you.
No problem.
Brian, there are a lot of language issues currently still before the government. Bilingual buses, that's going to be before the appeal court next month. You've got still, the fallout from D'Entremont's decision to, I guess, at least single out a commissioner and I guess address that. What can be done here?
Well, I favor a common sense approach to these things. And like I say, New Brunswick has a long history of successfully being a bilingual province. And a lot of these issues have been real flashpoints for people. I was glad to see, I think today, that there's been an agreement reached with the paramedics. That was a real concern, and they've adopted a more realistic timeline. We spoke, our party spoke with the paramedics, and I have a lot of friends who are paramedics, and it was an issue of concern. I think that they've come to a common sense approach where, by working with the paramedics, by listening to them, we can achieve the same goal. The goal is to have a bilingual service, but we can do it in a measured way. And we can do it in cooperation with the people that are the subject matter experts. And I think that's true there. With the issue of busing has been contentious. And I tell you, I've had a lot of my constituents, it's a flashpoint for them. Because they'll see empty school buses go by and yet they're having to walk their kids to school or drive their kids to school. So that's an issue. But I think that's going to be decided by the courts now, and so it should be. And we'll see whether it's constitutional or not. And if it's not constitutional, then maybe we can adopt a pragmatic approach to that. I think that but we'll see. It's up to the courts. So, to my mind, you have to apply we know where we want to go. We want to have a bilingual province, and that to me is a strength. It's part of our history. It's part of our strength as a province. We want to get there, but we can't get there overnight, and we have to move.
Brian, I'm going to have to interrupt